Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're diving deep into something you probably use every single time you code in Python, variables. But what if the way you've been thinking about them isn't quite right? Let's peel back the layers and see what's really going on.
So let me just ask you that straight up, because chances are, especially if you've come from other programming languages, you've got a specific picture in your head of what a variable does. Well, today we're going to take that picture and completely repaint it.
All right, let's jump right into the big idea. See, most of us were probably taught that a variable is like a box. But for Python, that metaphor doesn't just leak. It completely falls apart. We need a new one.
Yeah, in a lot of languages like C or Java, the box metaphor works great. You have a box named X, and you put the number 5 inside it. Simple. But Python, it's different. A much better way to think about it is the label metaphor. The value itself, let's say the number 42, is a real thing, an object, floating around in your computer's memory. The variable is just a name tag, a sticky note that you slap onto that object.
So to get really specific, the variable isn't the data. It's just a name, a reference, a signpost that points and says, hey, the data you're looking for, it's over there, at this exact spot in memory.
Now, I know that might sound a little abstract, a little out there, but this isn't just a theory. We can actually prove it. We can peek behind the curtain and ask Python, hey, where exactly is this object you're pointing to?
And the way we do that is with a handy built-in function called ID. Think of it like a GPS for your data. So, if we create a variable named leaftide and label the number 42, ID gives us its unique memory address. Then, if we make another variable, nom, and label the string Alice, ID shows us, whoa, a completely different address. They are two separate objects living in two totally different places.
Okay, so we've got these labels and they point to objects. The next logical question is, what kinds of objects can we actually label? Well, it turns out Python has this whole universe of different kinds of data, or as we call them, data types. And you know, just like we can ask for an object's address with ID, we can ask what kind of thing it is using the type function. So if we ask Python about the object 42, it comes back and tells us that's a class int, which of course is short for integer.
Integers are your bread and butter whole numbers. 42, -7, a million. And what's really cool in Python is that they can be basically as big as you want. You don't have to worry about them overflowing, which is a huge relief.
Next up, we've got floats. That's just the programmer speak for any number with a decimal point. So think pi, 3.14, or maybe a price like $19.99.
And a string? Well, that's just text. It's a sequence of characters wrapped up in quotes. Could be a single letter, a name, or heck, the entire text of a novel.
And finally, for our core types, we have Booleans. Don't let their simplicity fool you. These are the absolute bedrock of logic in programming. Everything boils down to one of two values, true or false.
And what's so powerful about this is how these four types, integers, floats, strings, and booleans, are basically the fundamental atoms of our data. Almost everything you build in Python will be constructed from these essential building blocks.
So here's where it gets really interesting. What happens when you want to change a variable's value? If you're thinking with the box metaphor, you imagine opening it up and swapping out the contents. But with our new label metaphor, well, something very different and very elegant happens.
All right, let's walk through this. First, we take our label A and stick it on the number object 42. Easy enough? Then, when we say B equals A, we are not making a copy of the number. We're just taking a second label, B, and sticking it onto that very same 42 object. Now, here's the magic moment. When we say A equals 100, we don't touch the original 42 object at all. We just peel the A label off of 42 and stick it onto a brand new object, the number 100. So what about B? It's totally unaffected. It's still right there, happily pointing to the original 42.
This whole process reveals a fundamental concept in Python, immutability. Objects like integers, floats, strings, and booleans are literally unchangeable. You can't just magically turn the number 42 into the number 100. Instead, Python just creates a totally new 100 object and moves your label over to it.
Okay, let's talk about Python's personality for a minute. You're going to hear two terms thrown around a lot, dynamic typing and strong typing. They sound kind of similar, I know, but they describe two completely different and super important rules about how Python behaves.
Dynamic typing is all about the freedom of our labels. In Python, a label like x can point to an integer one moment, and then you can just peel it off and stick it on a string the next. Python's totally cool with it. The label itself has no fixed type. Now, in a statically typed language like Java, that label is locked in. If you say x is for integers, it's for integers for life, and trying to point it at a string will cause an error.
Strong typing, on the other hand, is about the objects themselves having strict rules. Python is very strict. If you try to add a string object to an integer object, Python just throws its hands up and gives you a type error. It basically says, whoa, these are two different kinds of things. I have no idea how to add them. But a weakly typed language like JavaScript, it'll just kind of shrug and guess what you mean, automatically turning the 25 into a string for you.
And this gets to a core piece of Python's philosophy. Explicit is better than implicit. The language doesn't want to guess. So if you've got the string leaf-tide and the number 25, you can't just mash them together. You have to explicitly tell Python what you want. You have to say, hey, Python, see that integer 25? Use the string function to create a brand new string object, 25 from it. Then, once you have two strings, you can combine them perfectly. All right, now for a few aha moments. These are a couple of classic examples that can really trip people up at first, but they perfectly highlight why understanding this whole label and object model is so important. Okay, pop quiz. What do you get when you add 0.1 and 0.2? I mean, it's got to be 0.3, right? What else could it be? And the answer is this long, crazy number. Now, this isn't a Python bug. This is a fundamental truth about how pretty much all modern computers store decimal numbers using binary. They can't always represent them with perfect accuracy, so you get these tiny little precision errors. It's a classic gotcha for anyone working with floating point numbers. And now for the grand finale that ties everything together, the showdown between equals and is. The double equal sign checks for value. It asks, do these labels point to objects that have the same content? So when A is 1,000 and B is 1,000, A double equals B is true, of course. But the is keyword, is asks a much deeper question. It asks, do these labels point to the exact same object at the exact same memory address? And for larger numbers, Python often creates two separate objects. So even though they have the same value, A is B is false. They are two different objects in memory. And that right there proves our label metaphor once and for all. So if you take one thing away from all this, it's that in Python, a variable is just a name tag pointing to an object. And for the fundamental types like numbers and strings, those objects are immutable. They can't be changed. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? What happens when we stick our labels on objects that are designed to be changed, like a list of items? Well, that's a story for another time.